jollof rice, sunny style. You'll need these ingredients and these cooking tools. I start off by marinating my chicken with pepper, salt, and chicken stock cube. It's good. When you go to an African house and you're eating chicken and it tastes really good, well, they marinated the chicken. I do add oil to my chicken because I'm going to parboil it in hopes that the water reduces or removes, leaving the oil to fry through the chicken. You can use any protein that you want, but in this video I'm using chicken. I do give it a good stir so that it doesn't get stuck to the pot. Now I use 2 cans of diced tomatoes. I'm going to parboil it because I don't like the sourness of tomato cans. It's very sour. You can use fresh tomato if you want. It's just because I'm lazy and I'm also stingy, so I'm putting some water in the can just to remove the rest of the tomato that is in there, giving it a really good swirl. Yes, I'm very stingy, okay? I don't want to waste any tomato, so put that in. Then I'm gonna give it a good stir. I'm also gonna add some salt to this. Salt will make it boil really fast and reducing or removing the water fast as well. Ta-da! See how it's boiling? I do want that water to go down a bit more, so I want it to be gone from my tomato. This is taking the sourness out of that tomato because it's tomato can. You can use fresh tomato again if you are not lazy like me. So giving it a good stir. If it does get stuck to the pot, don't be alarmed, don't panic. It's just the way we cook. But give it a good stir. Try for it not to get stuck to the pot though. But if it does, it's not something big deal. African cooking does take a while, and when I cook, I always drink. So I like my wine. Cheers. Yep. Start off by cutting 2 onions as well. I don't like cooking onions because I don't like cutting onions. Onions make me cry. But some food or some recipe does need onion. Jollof rice is one of those recipes that needs onion. So I slice my onions. I slice it as fast as I can because I hate cutting onions. You can slice it very thin if you want, as long as it's not chunky. So 2 onions, slice. I swear I did not cry in this. I did not cry. Why am I fooling? I did cry. So slicing those onions. Putting it away. Then I get my 2 garlic. I am using 2 garlic. Now, just like onions, I hate garlic. I hate the smell of garlic. I hate the taste of garlic. But again, jollof rice does need some garlic. So I'm chopping or dicing my garlic. I did not go to cooking school, okay? So this is the best chopping I can do. Then that chicken was simmering. Now it's all cooked, so I'm taking it out from the oil. The oil is marinated oil. Do not throw the oil away. We are going to use this oil for the rest of the cooking. Then I add my sliced onions to the oil. Just on a side note, African cooking does not measure. We don't tell you how many cups or how many teaspoons. I am adding my garlic to this as well. As I was saying, African cooking don't tell you the measurements. The way we tell is by tasting, smelling, and sighting. Now that tomato that we parboiled earlier, I'm going to add it to the onions. Just give it a quick stir to the onions. Yep, another stir. I don't like it to be stuck to the pot, okay? Then add that hard boiled tomato. Like I said, if it's stuck to the pot, don't panic. As long as you can scrape some out. So yeah, we Africans, we don't use measurements. We smell our food, we taste our food, and we look at our food. If it looks good, if it smells good and tastes good, it's good. Then I'm going to put in some mixed veggies. Now, I did ask my ex-husband to get me mixed veggies, and he went and got me stir-fry veggies. So don't send men to the shops, okay? But yeah, giving it a good stir, stirring it through. It is frozen mixed veggies. Like I said, my ex-husband decided to get me stir-fry veggies, frozen one. So that's what I got. Then I'm going to add some salt for seasoning purposes, some salt. Don't worry, it's not too much salt. Then I'm adding some pepper. This is very hot chili. So I don't use a lot, only like maybe half a teaspoon. So don't use a lot of pepper unless you are really spicy person, like if you really like spice. I don't, my children and I don't. So I try not to put too much pepper. Then I use all-purpose seasoning. I'm gonna add that to it. Just a sprinkle, not too much. Don't ask me how many teaspoons and stuff. We don't measure. Then I'm adding chicken stock. The chicken stock I'm using is called Maggi. It does have MSG in it. But you can use any other chicken stock or beef stock that does not have MSG. So give it a good stir, mixing all that in. It does smell nice. It smells so good actually. Give it a good stir. And we're going to let it simmer for a few minutes, probably about 10-15 minutes, just for it to simmer through. Lowering down the fire or the heat. It is important to watch the heat. Your fire, your heat, it is very important because you want it to go up, you want it to come down, depending on what is happening with your pot. So giving it a good stir. No, it's not burning. Okay, it's not burning. Then I add my chicken. This is the base of cooking jollof rice. The most important thing is getting your stew correct, as in on spot. Your jollof rice is based on your stew, on your tomato stew. I do have to say that different people have different ways of cooking jollof rice. This is my way of cooking jollof rice. At times, I do cook it differently as well. Sometimes I add fresh tomatoes. Sometimes I use totally just fresh tomatoes. Sometimes I add bay leaves. It's totally up to you. But the base is tomato stew. I use wok. So I use a wok. You can use a pot. You can use a cooking rice cooker. But I use a wok. It's easier for me. Now, I use Uncle Ben's rice. So Uncle Ben's rice, I use it. That is 4 cups of Uncle Ben's rice. You can use whatever rice that you like, but with jollof rice, it's best to go with tasty rice. I'll wash my rice. It's good to wash your rice to remove the dirt and the starch. It reduces the starch. So I wash my rice and I put it in my wok where the sauce is. Then I get some baking paper because my wok does not have a lid, so I use baking paper, and I also get some Glad wrap. I also get some Glad wrap. Fix it up. Then I'm gonna add some water on top. The water is gonna make the Glad wrap and the baking paper to sink. It's like adding rock to it to hold it down. And then I get my baking tray. Ta-da! Is now a lid. That will be there for a few minutes, maybe 15 to 25 minutes. The heat has to be on a very low heat. You don't want your rice to burn if you are cooking it the way I'm cooking it. If it's on a rice cooker, honey, do whatever you want. Coming back, now I did use some of those water to put back in the rice because I still need the steam. So in this video, what cooks my rice mostly is a little bit of water and steam. Giving it a good mix. As you can see, it's turning into jollof. Add salt. Add a bit of chicken stock to it. I add more of my stew base to my jollof. At this stage, it's not cooked properly yet, so I'm adding a bit more of my stew base. I like it a bit red. So giving it a mix, just spreading it around, adding a bit of water, not too much, a bit of water. Just sprinkling that. And then cover it up again. That will be left again for another 15 to 25 minutes. Comes back, check it up again. This is a repetitive process now. Just coming back to stir, check up. You can taste the rice to see if it's cooked. Again, only if you're using the way if you're cooking the way I'm cooking this, okay? If you're cooking it on a rice cooker, the rice cooker will make sure it's cooked through. But if you're cooking it on a hot pot, then you have to keep checking it, tasting it every now and then to make sure that it's cooked or not. And then it just becomes a cover and close. Ta-da! You now have your jollof rice once your rice is cooked through. You can eat your jollof rice with your stew base as my picture, and you can drink your wine or any liquid that you like.